Lang now. The following is a transcript of an interview with former U.S. Ranger Glenn Taylor, circa September 2005. Alright, everything is ready, Mr. Taylor. I just need you to verify some basic information. First off, where and when were you born? Just like my grandfather, and just like his grandfather before him. My birth date is May 30th, 1946. Okay, now briefly explain your military career, if you don't mind. I joined the Army straight out of high school. Must have been June of '64. I excelled at boot camp, and after that, I entered Ranger School. Can you describe your experience? It was tough. It was definitely tough, especially for a young, stupid 19-year-old like me. They whipped me into shape, that's for damn sure. I finished everything around February of '65. And guess what happens a month later? That's right. Fucking Vietnam. Were you in Vietnam? Yeah, but not until 1966. What an experience that was. It was just like you see in the movies or those new video game things. Brutal heat, sweating, bugs tearing you apart. Ugh. I guess the natural beauty of the place made up for it, in a way. Do you recall where you were stationed? Vividly. It was a temporary encampment in the southwest, directly across from Hue. Right in the heart of the Ho Chi Minh Trail. There was a hamlet nearby. We called it Lang Niao, or Little Village. What was the village like? Pretty nice, actually. It was a small farming town. Mostly livestock, a lot of pigs and stuff like that. What was peculiar was the overabundance of cats there. Cats? Like house cats. I take it they came from a nearby town and just reproduced rapidly. You know how cats are. How were the locals? They were okay, I guess. They didn't like us being in their country, but they never attacked us or anything. And I can't blame them, honestly. We weren't really allowed to do this, but every once in a while, I would go down and share my rations with the kids. That wasn't allowed? No, not at all. In reality, the village had a target painted on its back. You often hear about platoons going on massacres and gunning down villagers, for no good reason at all. Like my LA. How common was this? More common than you'd like to believe. We were terrible over there. That's why I stuck with the protesters when I came back. I really liked that village. I did spend a lot of my free time there. I even picked up a little Vietnamese. So that made what happened, they made it even worse. Is this referring to the events of December 1st, 1966? Yeah. Yeah, that was the worst night of my life. Can you elaborate? Must have been around 9 p.m. Me and some of the guys were playing cards at base. Then the rest of the guys were patrolling the village. We came back. We cycled patrols, you see. So imagine my surprise when they come back bloody and beaten. We were obviously thinking it was the North Vietnamese. So the base went on alert. We grabbed our rifles and prepared to take position. Then the patrolman told us it wasn't the North Vietnamese. It was something stranger. What was it? Apparently a villager had gone crazy, and he began attacking other people. Not with weapons, mind you, but brutally bare-handed attacks. He said that he took bites out of the victims. So my patrol decided to go down there. What did you see? As soon as I entered the village, it was chaos. I saw people running, flailing arms, mass panic. I moved deeper into the village. and I noticed that a short ways away from me, there was a thing shrouded in darkness. I turned on my gun-mounted flashlight, but it only lit up so much. I moved closer, and the shadow illuminated for all the world to see. What it was. What I saw. Do you need a break, Mr. It was a man. It was a man, and he was eating a little girl. She must have been 7, maybe 8. And he had a chunk of meat in his mouth, ripped out of her neck. He was soaked in blood, head to toe. His face was dyed a deep, deep red, glistening in the light. I froze. I've seen bodies in my lifetime, but nothing like this. I could face enemy soldiers with bravery, but I couldn't even stand up to this crazed cannibal. I was weak. I was cowardly. I was a man made of paper blowing in a cold wind. What did this man do? He smiled at me. A wide, ear-to-ear grin. It was so unnatural. He then began to quietly repeat something, almost like a chant. I only had a limited understanding of Vietnamese, but I knew what he was saying. He just kept repeating. He was repeating, "I'm so hungry," over and over and over. What did you do? He began to run at me. I snapped out of my stupor and I drew my rifle. I fired a few shots. I hit him in the chest. It sent him flying backwards, and I thought it was over. Some madman couldn't hold his liking of human flesh back anymore. And then he got back up, back on his fucking feet, smiling and chanting. He sprinted at me and I fired again and again and again, but no luck. This thing refused to die. By that time, my magazine was empty. Half of its face was gone, and brain matter was spilling out the right side of its face. The eye dangled freely by the optic nerve, and it just kept coming. I reloaded and I fired again until my magazine was empty. Again. Its legs were torn apart, but it just crawled to me. I just couldn't take it anymore. I ran. My legs were like jelly when I got back to the base. My fellow soldiers heard the chaos and asked me what had happened. I didn't even respond. I drank down an entire bottle of whiskey and I went to bed. When I woke up, the village, the entirety of Lang Niao, was burned to the ground. My tour ended pretty shortly after that. What did you do when you got home? Tried to forget. I ran with the anti-war protesters until about 73, and we pulled out. After that, I started anew. I moved to Flagstaff, started a roofing business. I hid my military service as much as I could. Eventually, I settled in, the horror of that night behind me. But it still lingered in my mind. What could have caused this? As time went on, zombie movies and things like that became popular. I thought it was something like that, a real, honest-to-God zombie. But about 20 years later, I found the truth. Can you explain? It was in '92. One of the new hires was a Vietnamese kid. We got along pretty well, and he was amused by my knowledge of the language. You know, the usual. Until one day, we started talking about Vietnamese legends and shit like that. He told me about something called a Quay Nhap Chang. A dead body carrying an evil spirit inside. They made it very hungry, going so far as to eat live animals and people. That is exactly what happened all those years ago. Apparently a spirit possessed that body when a black cat leaps over a body's coffin. It all made sense. The massive amount of cats in Lang Niao, the walking corpse, cannibalism. It all just added up. Is that what you think happened? 100%. I faced down a Vietnamese demon. Sorry, that's all I can say right now. Oh, of course, Mr. Taylor. Have a great day. Huh, I hope so. Glenn Taylor passed away August 17th, 2012 due to complications of liver cirrhosis. For unknown reasons, this interview has never been released to the public. Guys, I hope you enjoyed that story. I'm gonna do my best to have one more up this weekend. I know. I will do my best to have one more up. Thank you for watching. Please leave a like, a comment, all that stuff YouTube likes, and I will see you all in the next one.